So it's been 5 years now since I've had my Coral Beauty Dwarf Angel here in my tank. And, I know I've kind of covered the basics with the Coral Beauty as far as, what it likes to do, its behavior with other fish. But, just a quick little recap. Generally speaking, the Coral Beauty is a good balance for a dwarf angel. It's probably the most mild-tempered in general. There are definitely aggressive individuals of the dwarf angels that I've seen. The only real issue you tend to run into with these guys is that they're not necessarily the most kind to new additions to the tank. So generally he will give the new additions a hard time for about a week or two, but after that it backs off and just accepts it as a member of the tank. It's established the pecking order and doesn't really have any serious issues. Arguably the most interesting reaction I've seen out of the Coral Beauty Dwarf Angel was when I added the newest addition, which was my flame hawkfish over there. When I added the flame hawkfish, the Coral Beauty, when it first got in there, rather than chasing it, decided to back up to it and just kind of give it a little tail slap to the face a few times. But after it did that for a couple of days, that was pretty much it, and it pretty much left it alone after that, and they don't bother each other much anymore. So as far as diet, it is definitely predominantly an algae grazer. Loves to go around all over the tank, just kind of nipping at rockwork, even powerheads, tank eater, anywhere where there's a surface for any of that sort of little film algae to form on. It loves to go through and graze on that all day. But it also does enjoy meaty diets. It's like a lot of fish. It is very fond of LRS Reef Frenzy because it's such a wide mixed diet based around mysis, shrimp, and a bunch of other things. So the Coral Beauty Dwarf Angel, he is a little bit more camera shy than my other fish, particularly when I get up here right next to the tank. He tends to like to hide a little bit, as you can see right now. It's definitely not out quite as much as the rest of them are, but it's definitely, it's not a fish that hides all the time either. Oh, there it is. And he just likes to graze in and around the tank and just kind of has some fun doing what he does. As far as coral nipping goes, the current corals I have in my tank, there is no interest whatsoever from the Coral Beauty. It has just decided that, Euphilia corals, mushroom corals, Blastos, Duncans, I believe that's pretty much everything I've got here in my tank, just really aren't, to its taste and its liking. I do keep it better fed. I generally feed twice a day, plus a small feeding of seaweed or nori if you prefer, and that seems to do it for the Coral Beauty. It really seems to keep it well fed, and between that and grazing on algae, it doesn't really have a whole lot of interest in corals, at least the kinds that I have in my tank. Now, in the past, it has taken a bit of a liking to some of the meatier corals, like Trachophilia, acans. It didn't do too well with those, and I was trying to think if there was anything else. I think it did try a couple of exploratory nips at a hammer, but I mean, we're talking like 4 years ago. And then after that, it basically spat it out. Every time it spat it out, it did not like the taste of them. So ever since then, it's never bothered any of the Euphilia, never had any issues with the frog spawns that are all over my tank. The Blastos, occasionally I'll see it, taking a peek at them. But then once the kind of the edges where it's a little more, I don't know, hairy or wavy or whatever, it tends to kind of get weirded out by that sort of thing and just moves on. But it's never really actually gone after any of my Blasto corals that I've ever seen. And they've all done well in my tank. But anyways, as it sits now, the Coral Beauty is the longest fish that I've ever had in this tank. So 5 years that I've had it, but keep in mind 6 years is as long as I've been in this hobby. So I would say that's a pretty good record. So anyways, but yeah, it's currently kind of the grandpa, if you will, of my tank, just even though it seems that it hasn't been in there that long. Now, coral beauties and dwarf angels in general, they don't grow super fast, and they do apparently live for a fairly long time. It's not uncommon for them to live in the neighborhood of, say, 15 to 20 years. So, kind of like clownfish, they have a pretty long life, even in captivity. So, I would say that, definitely, if you plan on having a dwarf angel or coral beauty, plan on holding on to a fish for a fairly long time, as long as it's healthy. So, mine has been, as I said, it's just been a good fish. Other than, those couple of types of corals it seems to like, and not necessarily being the most kind to the new guys in the tank when they first get in there. I really haven't had any issues with coral beauty. Once fish get established, it tends to just, ignore them and go on about their business. Even some cases where they'll even kind of hang out together for a bit. So, once again, my apologies that it's being a little camera shy at this time, but it is what it is, with the coral beauty. But when the camera is not around, it's a lot more comfortable and it comes out a lot more. It's just sometimes it gets a bit camera shy. So as you can see, it likes to go in and around the rock work there. He has this little sort of cave network down here that he's kind of staked out as his own territory. He does share it a bit with the tank residents. I think the foxface goes in there periodically, and so does the wrasse, the Christmas wrasse that I've got in there, and he doesn't really mind that too much. Other than at nighttime. Nighttime he does get a bit territorial about his space. But like as you can see here, they're like right there in each other's faces and no problem whatsoever. So anyways, happy 5th anniversary here to the Coral Beauty. And that's all I've got, and thanks for watching.